Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبيه ومصطفاه وبعد. Welcome to another live edition of our program Ask Huda. Allow me to remind you with our contact informations. The phone numbers area code 002 then 02 3855 131. Alternatively area code 002 then 01 00546 9323. WhatsApp numbers area code 001 347 80625 and finally area code 001 361 489 1503 or live on the Facebook page Salah Official as well as the YouTube channel Dr. Muhammad Salah. Assalamu alaikum. Our first caller today, Brother Nu'man from the UK.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, Akhi Nu'man, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, very good. Akhi, it was so nice to see you trip in Pakistan. I'm actually of Pakistani origin, so my grandparents came to the UK. But anyway, it was so nice to see you places
I
you
know,
went.
it was nice. It was really nice. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I saw you enjoying this now, mashallah. May Allah bless you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Very kind to you. Akhi, I have two questions.
Go ahead.
One is, if we can please, so I do understand when we make dua, our dua, as I understand, is sort of stuck between the earth and the heavens. It's not accepted until we send salat and salam on the Prophet. What I don't understand, are we supposed to do, is it like the Darush Sharif, are we supposed to do that before we make the dua, or is it after the dua? At what point do we do that? So that's my first question. I hope that's clear.
Okay.
Okay, and the second question is, I think I asked you this before. Now, I would like to ask you again, maybe if I tell you in a different way. So it's regard to do with the wasiyah. It's causing us a lot of anxiety and stuff, and we're just really unsure what to do about it. So my wife is a revert, and her obviously dad, she can't inherit. He's not that wealthy anyway. She can't inherit from him because he's not a Muslim, and she has nobody to. In the event, if I were to pass away, hopefully Allah gives me a good life. But if I were to pass away, and if I were to if I do the wasiyah, which is, the inheritance that my brothers and sisters will get something, she will get the 1/8. I mean, then who does she go to? Where does she live? Because if they want to sell the house, because she would have nothing from her parents' side. I mean, even if her dad was Muslim, he's very poor. She would have nothing from him. And second of all, he's not even Muslim. So it's causing a lot of anxiety. What would happen to her? I mean, who would look after her? And it just was all my siblings are very well off. They all have their houses. They're all settled. They're not in need of money. And honestly, if I were not to be there for her, if I were to pass away, she will have nowhere to go. Honestly, even dad is struggling financially himself.
No, man.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. You're well off. I guess from the way you're talking, alhamdulillah, you have something to leave behind you. So you're well off, right?
I wouldn't say well off, but Allah's giving me something.
Okay. And you love your wife, right?
Of course I do.
Good, great. So why don't you write the house fully in her name, or give her whatever lump sum that you want to give her in your life, so that is hers. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, "La wasiyata liwarith." Allah has divided the shares of the inheritance, so you cannot give a wasiyah after your death to give any of the heirs an extra share. So, if you want to secure her future in your life, you said that her parents are poor, so you can, in your life, if you have something to share with her, you can give it to her. Okay?
So even if my siblings say we are fine, we don't need of this share, you can give it to your wife. Even then, I can't give it. I can't just give her the whole thing.
In your life, you can give, even if you want to give her your entire wealth, even if you give her whatever all you possess, but once you transfer the ownership to her, it's hers. That's halal. Okay, but you cannot say,
Okay.
after I die, I want my wife to take an extra share, or any of the heirs to take an extra share. That is not permissible. Okay?
Okay. All right. Okay. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh.
Zana, now you're in trouble. You have to give her something. Okay?
You got me in trouble.
Okay.
I think she was
I
listening.
didn't get you in trouble. You got yourself in trouble. Okay. Thank you, Nu'man. Assalamu alaikum. Nu'man's first question is how to send the peace and the blessings upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in order for one supplication to be accepted. An invocation which is wrapped and enveloped between two peace and blessings upon Prophet Muhammad or sending the salutations upon him will never be rejected. Because every time somebody says Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad, that is guaranteed to be accepted. So if you say it in the beginning and you say it by the end, and in the middle you ask Allah for your need, the most generous are not going to pick the first and the last and leave the middle. Will take the whole thing, accept the whole thing. So the etiquette of dua is to begin by praising the Almighty Allah, sending secondly the peace and the blessings upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then making your supplication, then thirdly wrapping it up by sending again the salutations upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Naji from Mauritania. Assalamu alaikum. Naji from Mauritania.
Alaikum salam, Sheikh.
How are you?
How are you, Sheikh?
I'm doing fine, and I just request you to mute the device from which you're watching the program.
My question is.
It's not gonna work.
How can
you have to
I
mute.
weep from God fearing?
Naji, you have to mute your device, please. So I want you to hear me from your phone, not from the device that you're watching. Got it? Go ahead, Naji. No problem. Try again. Simra from Canada. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh, I have few questions.
Go ahead.
Question number one is, can we do wudu with the spray bottle? Like we just wet our wudu parts with the spray and khalas, and if we have to, for the mouth, we can drink that water in that way? This is question number one. The other one is that
wait a minute. You said you spray water. Then you said you can drink this water. What is the link between?
No. The spray is for the body parts, like for the hands and for the feet, and like you have to do in your mouth, put water in your mouth as well, right? In wudu. So you just drink that water and don't spit it. Is that allowed to do wudu like that?
I got your question. Okay.
Okay, the other question is, there is a dua in the Quran for the parents, Rabbir Hamhuma Kama Rabbayani Saghira, that Allah give mercy to my parents as they have brought me up when I was little with Raham. So my question is, if the parents were abusive and they used to this thing comes in my mind, what if the parents were abusive with the children? Can children pray the same dua while they are gone, the parents are gone, because of the meaning this ayah has? And the third question is, in the masjid, are men and women allowed to sit in the same hall without any segregation and attend an Islamic lecture? This is the third question.
All right. Thank you, Sister Simra from Canada. Wudu. The ayah of Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter number 5 and number 6, Allah the Almighty says, إِذَا قُمْتُمْ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ. Okay? Then when he said امسحوا برؤوسكم, then اغسلوا also أرجلكم إلى الكعبين. So what needs to be washed? The face, the hands, and the feet. And there is a difference between washing and wiping. We said امسحوا, wipe over. So with your wet fingers, that's called wiping. But the ghasl, washing. When I say wash, means wash. Okay? So a glass of water like this is sufficient for me to make wudu. It's sufficient for me to make wudu. And I don't have to wash every body part 3 times. It's once, and more than that is sunnah. And sometimes you can do it once or twice or 3 times. Okay? The perfect is 3 times each, except for the masah, wiping over the head and the outer parts of the ears. It's only once. Okay? But using wet tissues, that is not ghasl, that is masah. Using spray, if the water is enough through the sprayer to wash, then that's fine. But not just wetting. We're talking about washing. Because the command says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا قُمْتُمْ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ فَاغْسِلُوا. Okay? Barakallah fikum. This is as far as the wudu. With regards to the parents, yes, you should still make dua for them, because by the end they were the cause of your presence in your life and in this life. And if they are abusive, that means they will be punished by Allah, and they are much more in need for your dua and hopefully for Allah's mercy than others, because they were abusive. So include them in your dua. رب اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. السلام عليكم. Naji. Assalamu alaikum. Naji. Yeah, go ahead.
Sheikh, I want to ask you if there any way can make me weep from God fighting, because I heard in hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا يلج النار رجل بكى من خشية الله.
What is the question, Naji?
My question is if there any way can make me weep.
I see.
From God fighting.
Okay, barakallah fi. Just I need to explain your question to the viewers. Fatima from the USA. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Have 2 questions, Sheikh, to ask, please.
Okay.
The first question is, if you are trying to fast, but you did not have the chance to wake up to eat suhoor, you fast for the whole day. Do Allah accept that fast, or you have to wake up and eat something?
Okay.
And the second one, or I have to wait for it, or can I ask the second one?
Yes, please go ahead.
And the second one is, if you are reading the Quran, but you have the app on your phone. If the person read the Quran, then you are reciting the Quran after the person, but you already know how to read it, but you are reciting after the person. Do you get reward for that, or you have to read it by yourself?
Okay, got your questions, Sister Fatima from the USA.
Yeah.
All right. So, Simra from Canada had a third question, which is, in the masjid, can men and women be in the same hall without a partition? At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was no partitions, but there was the partition of shyness and bashfulness. The Prophet ﷺ appointed a gate for the ladies, and he requested men not to use this gate. It's only for women. Then he said the best of the rows of the men are the first, and then until the last, which will be, if we're talking about what is good, it is the least good or it is the worst. Then he said the best of the rows of the women are the last, which distance herself from men. So that was the psychological and the shyness barrier. So if a woman is wearing hijab and she's attending in the masjid in the same hall and there is no partition, it is permissible. Why do people put partitions in the masjid nowadays? Because a lot of sisters who come to the masjid, they are not wearing proper hijab. They're even wearing skirts and they're wearing some revealing clothes. So in this case, it causes confusion for the worshippers. So they say, okay, you ladies stay in your area and we're not interfering with your business. But if you're talking about under regular circumstances, no, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was no partition. So if men and women know their duties and women are wearing the proper hijab, it's okay to be in the same hall without partition, of course. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Aisha from Germany.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is it allowed to listen to nasheeds that include clapping of hands?
Okay. Any
Yes,
other
that's what
questions?
yes.
Any other questions?
No. Thank you.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Hassan from Uganda. Assalamu alaikum. Hassan. Assalamu alaikum. Hassan, can you hear me?
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
How are you, brother?
Hello?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah, how are you, Sheikh?
I'm doing great, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. My question is, what is the ruling of making many umrahs before you make Hajj? Because many of our brothers here, they make umrah before they make Hajj. They have some money to make umrahs. So what is the verdict, inshallah? Barakallahu fiqh.
وفيك بارك. Thank you, brother Hassan from Uganda. And now Hassan from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Hi Sheikh, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing great, Sister Hassan.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I have 3 questions, inshallah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have 3 questions.
Please
okay?
go ahead. Yes, I'm listening.
Is it haram for me to wear my hijab tucked back when I'm near the window at home? My ears and the earrings are showing. Will it attract the men from the windows?
Okay.
If they see me?
So you're talking about wearing hijab.
Yes, when I'm in the house, I tie it back.
You're wearing hijab at home.
Yes, when I'm near the window, when I hang out the clothes, you know, and my the ears are showing.
Okay.
Is this haram? And my second question is, if I read correctly in the Quran, it says that while a woman is menstrual, husband should stay away from her until she is finished with her cycle and pure and clean, okay? But some chicks say that it's permissible for the husband to still play around with her upper part of her body just to stay away from where she's bleeding. How is this the same as what it says in the Quran? Because I haven't read that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And my third question is, which du'as are spoken silently at the end of each Salah prayer? And which prayer is the best time to make the du'a besides the Hajj?
No, the third question is not clear because the sound is not clear, Sister Hassan.
The third question?
Yes, third question, please.
It's which dua is spoken silently at the end of the Salah prayer? And which is the best time to make dua in which prayer time?
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Shukran.
Thank you, Sister Hassan. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Saadiya from the USA. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome
How
to
are
the
you,
program.
Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, I'm doing
Thank you.
great.
Okay, so I have a question. I live in New York, and then there was a bed that died at the window on the, I don't know, behind our window. So it's been there for a while. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I cannot take it and bury it. So I want to know if we are obligated to do anything if an animal dies. And I don't know how I could bury it because I live in New York. And the second question is, somebody told me that the Prophet Lut, when the people of Sodom came when the two angels came down to come and punish them, and they came to his house. So he told them, why will they go after his daughters instead of men? So somebody told me that he said he wished he had sons so that he could fight them. I want to know if it's true or not. That's my question.
Okay. Thank you, Sister Saadiya from the USA. Can we put the calls on hold for a little bit, please? I need to tackle these questions. We're done with Sister Simara's question from Canada. Naji from Mauritania. Yes, there are a couple of hadith actually in respect of that whoever sheds tears out of fear of Allah, Allah will protect him from hellfire. عينان لا تمسهما النار. There are two people whom will never be touched by hellfire. One of whom عين بكت من خشية الله, one whose eyes shed tears out of the fear of Allah. And there is another example of the 7 categories whom Allah the Almighty will shelter under His shade on the Day of Judgment. ورجل ذكر الله خاليا ففاضت عيناه, and a man who remembered Allah in solitude, in private, and as a result his eyes overflow with tears. So he cried, he shed tears out of the fear of Allah. This is something happens when you contemplate the idea of standing before the Almighty Allah and having to answer for many questions concerning our doings, good and bad, our earnings, our lifetime, how did you spend it? So the person who ponders over that, the person who ponders over the magnitude of the blessings of Allah the Almighty, meanwhile that we cannot match or come up with enough thanks and gratitude to Allah for His countless blessings, that will bring tears to one's eyes. When you read the Quran, and you understand its meaning, a lot of time it makes you cry. This crying out of the fear of Allah stands as a barrier between the person and entering the fire of hell. Sister Fatima from the USA, she intended to fast but she didn't get up for a sahur. Can she still fast, or does she have to eat the sahur meal, the meal before fasting? No, you can continue fasting, no problem. Eating the meal before Fajr is highly recommended, but whether you eat it or you don't, it doesn't affect your intention of fasting. And whether that is voluntary fasting or mandatory fasting, it is only to help you to continue fasting throughout the following hours. But let's say that you did not have any desire to eat, you didn't have any appetite, drink a little bit of water, okay? Eat a date or a fruit. No, that is sahur. It doesn't have to be a meal. And if you didn't eat at all, or you woke up even, so you intended to fast, and you didn't wake up, and it was after Fajr, you can resume fasting, and your fasting is perfectly valid. Okay? When you recite the Quran after somebody who's reciting, like on your tab, on your iPad, on your smart device, on the computer, so the Shaykh is reciting and you repeat after him, do you still get the word of reciting the Quran, if you're saying that, so he recites an ayah, then you repeat after him, like some of the, it's called al-mushaf al-muallim, the teaching recitation of a qari. So it says alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, and he pauses. You say alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Now you get actually double word, the word for listening and the word for reciting. It's not only one word. And the word for listening is similar to the word of reciting. Okay? So we got Sister Fatima's questions. Sister Aisha from Germany. Listening to nasheed which have some clapping, is it permissible? It doesn't have musical instruments, and the nasheed it sounds, the words of the nasheed are legal. It's okay to listen to the nasheed. Clapping, there is a difference of opinion in regards of its prohibition for men. Hassan from Uganda, is it permissible for a person to do multiple umrahs before performing Hajj? It's permissible. But the cost of umrah now is almost close to Hajj. And you've done your umrah and it is recommended, that's it. Save up the money so that you can perform Hajjatul Farida. Because Allah the Almighty says, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. If you save up for 2 umrahs, now you can perform Hajj. But is it permissible? It is permissible. Somebody is on the phone for a while. Assalamu alaikum. Thabit from Turkey, and thank you for waiting. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Go ahead, brother Thabit.
Jay, I have a question about shaking hands with women. I know for sure I was raised that shaking hands with women, with non-mahram women, is absolutely haram. I know that. But my friend is arguing with me about shaking hands with women because some sheikh told him that it was not prohibited, and that the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when he said, لَإِنْ يُلْقَانَ بِرَأْسِ أَحَدِكُمْ بِمِخْيَطٍ مِنْ حَدِيدٍ خَيْرٌ لَهُ مِنْ أَنْ يَمَسَّ امْرَأَةٌ لَا تَحِلُّ لَهُ. But he said that it was in the same meaning as it was written in the Quran when Maryam said, فَلَمْ يَمْسَسْنِي بَشَرٌ. Yani, and when the Prophet ﷺ in the other hadith said, I don't shake hands with women, Umar did, and that Abu Bakr did shake hands with women. So could you please clarify that for me so that I can convince him?
Sure. Barakallah fikum. No, neither Umar nor Abu Bakr did shake hands with women who are not mahram to them. And they were the most worthy people of following Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's traditions. No argument in this regard. Okay? And when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in the hadith that you've made mention to, which the scholars utilize it as a reference, the main reference as a cornerstone in the ruling concerning a man touching a woman who's not lawful for him. It's not just shaking hands, kissing, hugging, A woman who's not your wife, she's not your aunt, you're not your mom, she's not your daughter. Why do you touch her? Why do you touch her? The Prophet ﷺ says, yes, if it is the case that somebody is hit with a sewing needle in his head, it will be a lot easier than shaking hands or touching the hand of a woman who's not lawful for him. So your friend is arguing with you that the word أن تمس, al-mass here refers to the sexual relations, right? This is what he's saying. Because when you quote the ayah of the ayah of Maryam alayhi salam, وَلَمْ يَمْسَسْنِي بَشَرٌ وَلَمْ أَكُ بَغِيًّا. Al-mass here is different, Habibi. Al-mass here refers to, I'm not only that, I never had sexual relations with anyone. I wasn't even touched by a man. Okay? I wasn't even touched by a man. Then in the hadith, there is a great deal of specification. Here she says, لم يمسسني, entire body was not touched by a man. But the Prophet ﷺ says, أن تمس يده يد امرأة, the hand, your hand and the hand of a woman. So he mentioned specifically the hands. Then his practices, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he says, I do not shake hands with women who are not my mahram, even though the Prophet ﷺ is considered mahram for the entire ummah. He's teaching the ummah. Okay? And then in the Pledge of Allegiance, thousands of men came and took bay'ah, Pledge of Allegiance from the Prophet ﷺ, and he would shake hands with them one by one. On the Treaty of Al-Hudaybiyah, before that, Bay'atul Ridwan, when he sat beneath the tree and he started giving the Pledge of Allegiance and accepting it from 1,400 companions. But women, no, verbally. Okay? Barakallahu fikum. So brothers and sisters, we'll take a short break, and I think we have only Sister Saadiya's question from the USA, Anna and Hassan as well. So inshallah, I will be more than happy to tackle those questions when we return from a short break, and perhaps take some more. Please stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Our phone numbers should appear on the bottom of the screen for your reference. And now with the pending questions, Hassan from Egypt. Let me take the following call first. Assalamu alaikum. Umar from Kashmir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Are you currently in Kashmir, brother Umar?
Alhamdulillah, actually, right now I'm not in Kashmir. I'm living in another city. It is within India, but I'm from Kashmir originally.
Okay. It's a beautiful place, mashallah. It's a very beautiful place. May Allah liberate it and free its people.
Inshallah.
Go ahead, Umar. Umar, Salama. I thought no one uses this ringtone anymore. Okay, Umar, go ahead.
Yeah, there is some problem. Yeah, actually, today my question is, actually I was reading Quran, and I have also heard from different sources. We all know that generally that, the guidance is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He guides whomever he wills and lets astray whomever he wills. So guidance is totally from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So why Allah, he will guide, some people and not others? Who are these people?
Okay, got your question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Umar. Assalamu alaikum. Jakhar from Kazakhstan. Jakhar, assalamu alaikum. Sister Asia from the KSA, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Sister Asia? Alhamdulillah, I'm doing great.
Sheikh, I have one question regarding will which we have to give. Before, is it compulsory to make a will before we die? And how should the will be? According to Sharia, or as we want according to our own choice? And is it compulsory that before that we should make a will? And if we have made a will, is it compulsory that we have to apply it and give it to the highest, whatever our relatives, whatever our kinship, where we have to give?
Got your question. Jazana wa iyakum. Thank you, Sister Asia. Jakhar from Kazakhstan. Assalamu alaikum, Jakhar. Can you hear me? Yes, brother, can you hear me? Okay, we'll have to skip this call. Hassan, whatever you must wear in the prayer is what you must wear before people who are not your mahram. Whether they are visiting you at home or you're going outside, or you're looking from the window to hang the laundry or to pick up some items. Okay? So in the prayer, what you're allowed to show is your face without the ears. Okay? So in this case, that should be covered as well. Your second question, yes, there is a reference. Salama radiyallahu anha said that one day I was in the same lihaf, under the same comfort with the Prophet ﷺ. So I slipped away from him because I assumed when I started my menses I shouldn't be sharing bed with him. So he ordered me to come back, wrap an izar around the lower part, then we would cuddle and we would hug and everything, the upper part except the area which has the orifice where normally we have sexual relations in, okay, the private part. Besides that, it's all permissible. Not only because the man has needs, but because the woman has needs. And the period should not prevent enjoying each other as long as there is no sexual intercourse. This is, and there are actually many ahadith in this respect, sound ahadith. The greatest time to supplicate in the prayer, number one, in sujood, while prostrating yourself. Number two, after you finish reciting the last tashahhud and before making taslim. And the typical supplication of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in this period, after reciting At-Tahiyyatu Lillah to Innaka Hamidun Majid, and before saying As-Salam to the right and to the left, you would say, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min fitnati al-mahya wal-mamat wa fitnati al-masih al-dajjal. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min adhabin fi al-nar wa adhabin fi al-qabr. You would seek refuge with Allah against the trials of life and death, the trials of the false Messiah, and the trials and the torment of the grave and the torment of hellfire. Barakallah fikum. Sister Saadiya from the USA, a bird died behind the window. What shall I do with it? Pick it up and discard it. You can throw it, wrap it in a plastic bag and throw it in the trash. You don't have to bury it. Okay? With regards to Prophet Lut alayhi salam, it wasn't that he wished to have boys, no. When he says, hey guys, those are my daughters, hunna atharu lakum haula'i banati. He meant that if you want to marry, you can marry my daughters. Leave men alone. You guys are crazy. This is what Lut alayhi salam was telling the people, his people, whom he was giving them da'wah, but they were very odd. They disbelieved in Allah and they had no interest in sex with the opposite gender. They wanted to have sex with the same gender. So Prophet Lut alayhi salam forbade them. And he said, this is an awful thing that you're doing. So when they insisted to attack his guests were honorable and noble angels. They disguised as human beings and they were so beautiful. They heard that Lut has men, so they rushed. They wanted to have them, to rape them. So he says, instead you can marry my daughters. And when he says, لو أن لي بكم قوة أو آوي إلى ركن شديد, I wish I have strength to defend my guests and to ward you off. So the angel said, don't worry, we are going to take care of them. But what Lut alayhi salam did, because some people when they hear هؤلاء بناتي هن أطهر لكم, they misunderstand the ayah. It wasn't like what you're thinking. It was, he says, if you want to marry, you can marry my daughters. Leave men alone. Okay? That's an interesting story that I believe that we need to teach our children a lot, whether in the schools or at home, in order to inspire them and teach them and make them aware of what is right and what is wrong. Because worldwide now in the West, what is right has become wrong and what is wrong is right, and there is a great deal of confusion. So you send your child to the school, they teach him that, you know, it's perfectly okay to discover yourself. Maybe you are a boy in the outer part, but inside of you, you're a girl. And you have the right to change your gender. And you heard from many of the viewers saying that unfortunately they impose that on the school students. So they teach them at a younger age, and the parents have no choice, and they cannot actually correct that to them. May Allah have mercy on all of us. Last question from Sister Asia. With regards to the wasiyah, is it compulsory? And does it have to be in accordance with the Sharia, or one can face it on his own? Even when you face it on your own, it must be in accordance with the Sharia. Yani, there was a question in the beginning from Nu'man from the UK. And I said, the Prophet ﷺ said, La wasiyyata liwarith. What is wasiyah to begin with? The wasiyah is the will, the bequest. Before your death, you write down, this is what you want to be fulfilled after you die. That is your wish, your personal will. So, if you have money, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the hadith, ما حق امرئ مسلم يبيت ليلتين له شيء يوصي فيه إلا ووصيته مكتوبة عنده تحت رأسه. So in brief, the Prophet ﷺ mandated in this hadith, if you're a wealthy person or you have some money that you're leaving behind, you should write your will. What do you want to do with this money? It doesn't mean that you're going to redivide the shares of the inheritance away from the divine decree. What it means is that perhaps you want to give away some money, so that will be taken away from the inheritance before dividing the shares among the heirs. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in Surah An-Nisa, whenever He divided the shares, and He said, this is the share of a wife if she has a child, and this is the share of a husband if he has a son, etc. So He says, مِن بَعْدِ وَصِيَّةٍ تُوصُونَ بِهَا أَوْ دَيْنٍ. The shares must be divided, but after fulfilling the wasiyah and the debt. And we normally begin with the debt, then the wasiyah. And the wasiyah should be within 1/3 of one's inheritance. If somebody left 100 grams, you have up to 33,000 that you want to give away, you want to put it in a masjid, in a charity work, that's permissible. Not more than that. The rest, the 2/3, belongs to the heirs. And you're not allowed to give any of the heirs an extra share, whether a wife or a mom or a dad or a child or a sister, for a reason. You want to give them in your life. Also, the wasiyah is not only concerning wealth, it's also concerning what you want to be done after your death. For instance, I want to be buried in Muslim graveyard. I want that person to wash my body after my death. I want that person to lead my prayer. Or I advise you to be God-fearing after I die and to be united, not to have discord among yourselves, to take care of your mom, to take care of your grandparents, whatever. This is all wasiyah. This is all called wasiyah. We're running out of time, brothers and sisters. And inshallah, I'd like to see you next time. Until then, I leave you all in the care of Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech.